In Quran chapter 5 verse 6, Quran chapter 5 verse 6, it says, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu, iza kuntum ila salat, فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم إلى الكعبين. Right? Now, let's see that part alone before I move on to the side of the verse, right? The verse says, "O you who have believed, when you get up for the salat, then wash your faces," that is number one, "and your hands," that is number two, that is the hands to the elbows, that's number two, "and wipe with your heads," that is number three, "and your legs to the heels," that is number four. Okay. Now, do you see this procedure I just mentioned to you right now? This procedure is a command. You have been commanded to do it when you get up for the salat. But however, there are different of opinions or understandings when it comes to the word salat. Some people say it is not a physical act. Some people say it is a duty. Some people say it is following closely. Some people say it is commitment. Some people say, you understand, it's prayer. Okay. So whichever you understand. Before we go to the salat issue, let's examine this verse. Now, this verse is explaining a ritual. Let's not go to the salat first, because you have to do this act before you go to the salat. So this verse you are reading, the thing it is explaining is a ritual. Now, when people don't understand the word, what ritual actually means. So let me break down. I put it on the screen. Let me break down what ritual means so that you get to understand the clear concept of what I'm talking about, the gist of what I'm talking about. Now, do you see on the screen? Welcome. Now, on the screen, you see the word ritual. Now, when we say ritual, we are talking about any customary observance or practice, or we can say the prescribed procedure for conducting religious ceremonies. Now, for people who don't believe in, when you say religion, the definition of a religion is believing in a supernatural being who controls your destiny. Right? If you believe any being, any supernatural being, or any superior entity controlling your destiny, that is defined as a religion. And that is faith, iman. So if you have faith in any unseen entity or any unseen effect to something, and you put your faith inside there, that is defined as religion, because that is faith, right? Okay. So any customary observance or practice that you do in terms because of your faith is called ritual. For instance, if you have to always pour water in front of your house and it's based on faith, somebody told you to be doing that based on your faith, any doctrine tells you to do that based on your faith, that is considered as a ritual. You understand? So in every denomination of faith, religions, people do rituals. Now, in order to understand what ritual is about, you have to understand what ritual is. Any customary, when we say custom, it's a custom. You have to follow that standard. So any customary observance or practice is a ritual. Second meaning, the prescribed procedure for conducting a ceremony or a religious ceremony is also a ritual. So far as it has been prescribed for you to do, it becomes your ritual. You understand? So let's go this way. We have footballers who do rituals before they go to the field. Anytime they are going to the football field, you see them do this. That is your ritual, because maybe your pastor or your priest told you to be doing that before you enter the field. That becomes a customary observance, and that is a ritual, because if you don't do that, you don't feel good. Do you understand? So when it comes to the salat, before you go to the salat, God says, "Iza kuntum ila salat." Then He says, "Fagusulu wujuhakum wa aydiyakum ila al-marafiq wa umsahu bi ru'usikum wa arjulakum ila al-ka'bah." If you never do these things God is commanding in Quran chapter 5 verse 6, you have no salat. I don't care whatever salat is for you. Whether salat is flying, I don't care. So far as you don't do this chapter 5 verse 6, your salat is useless. Because you have to follow this ritual God is mentioning in Quran chapter 5 verse 6 before you go and do whatever, whether following closely, whether duty, whether flying, whether prayer, whether connection, whatever you want to do. That's what you understand, because that is what God is going to judge you upon, right? I will not be standing there, right? But remember, Quran chapter 5 verse 6 is clearly defining a ritual for you. The ritual is the prescribed procedure for conducting a ceremony. You don't do it, no salat for you. Simple. Do you understand the logic here? That is what we define as a ritual. But now, for people who say ritual salat, that is where the problem is. No, you don't say ritual salat, but salat, listen, the salat is a ritual. Why do I say that? The question is, has salat been ordained or prescribed for you to establish? If God says establish salat and you are establishing it every time, it becomes a ritual. I don't care if you think, oh, bowing down, prostrating, sleeping, diving, jumping. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the act itself, the action that God has stipulated for you to do. That is a ritual. If it's not a ritual, why did Abraham do it? Why did Moses do it? Why did Jesus say he has been instructed to do it? Why are all the prophets saying they've been instructed? If it's not a ritual, then why is it a part of you? Then you put it aside. If it's not a ritual means the prescribed procedure for conducting a ceremony. Any customary observance or practice you have to do in your life based on your faith is a ritual. If you don't agree, it means academically you are kaput. You don't understand what ritual means. Do you get my point? That is why I even go to the extent using footballers, using people in denominations and everything, ritual for you. Understand the word ritual and what it means. We are not saying the salat, ritual salat, based on what the hadithiyuns are doing. The hadithiyuns will tell you when you do salat, you sit down, you don't do your hands like this, the devil will be around you, you have to whip the devil. We are not telling about that. No. That's not from the Quran. As a matter of fact, their ritualistic ablution is not of the Quran. So we are not talking about sectarians. However, for those who claim to follow the Quran, and you say you take guidance from the Quran, you have to understand how to understand certain topics and concepts in the Quran. I don't care whether you think it's physical or not physical. I'm talking about how do you define or describe scenarios or things you see in the Quran. That is what I'm talking about. Do you get my point? Okay.